All right, YouTube, as promised, I'm doing the next video in the Tools for a Self-Sufficient Life series. And these are in no particular order. It's just as I'm thinking of them. Sorry, I had a bug on my foot. It's just as I'm thinking of them and as I have time to do them. And today I've got a little bit of time, so I'm going to make a second one. What we're going to talk about now in the tools that you need to live a self-sufficient life: screwdrivers. As I'm sure you can tell, I have a lot of screwdrivers, and this is just the screwdrivers in my mechanic box. There's all different types of screwdrivers. You have screwdrivers that have a square Robertson tip. You have Torx that have the star. You even have specialized screwdrivers like this. This is for adjusting carburetors on small engines. All sorts of different screwdrivers. Big screwdrivers, little screwdrivers, tons of screwdrivers. Precision screwdrivers, Allen key screwdrivers, everything. That looks like a lot, doesn't it? It looks like, ooh, there's a lot of screwdrivers there. I better start saving up money so I can buy all those screwdrivers. No. I have all those screwdrivers. I've collected them over the years. I've grabbed them when I know I need to do a project that's going to have Torx bolts, like Torx screws, like the air filter in my truck. It has little T25 screws on it. So I bought a set of Torx screwdrivers. This is the stuff that stays here. This is the stuff that I'm using this when I'm working out of the garage on one of the vehicles, one of the machines, whatever. Remember, this series is for the newly self-sufficient person. The guy or the girl who's like 25, who's like 18 to 25 years old, someone who just getting out in the world, just getting started. And I'm going to show you what I wish I knew about when it comes to screwdrivers when I was your age over a decade ago, which makes me feel old. I'm 38. And that's another good thing to look at. I'm 38 years old. I've been buying myself tools as I need them and as I find that I need them since I was 18 years old. You're not going to just go out and buy a whole bunch of tools. I mean, you can if you have the money for it, if you want to tell your family or whoever, hey, for my birthday and for Christmas, just, buy me these tools that I have on this list. That's a good way to get started, and there's some tools that we're going to get into that you kind of have to do that with, like a ratchet set and a set of wrenches and things like that, but we're going to get to that. Today's focus, like I said, is on screwdrivers, and you saw there's a ton in there. There's a ton of screwdrivers in there, and I've got more everywhere. My favorite brand is Craftsman, as you can tell. I grew up and Sears existed. Sears existed and sold Craftsman tools, and they have a lifetime guarantee, and I love them. They don't pay me to say this, but they are more than welcome to. So Craftsman, if you're watching, please pay me. Now you can get Craftsman at Ace. You can get Craftsman at Lowe's. And it's still a good name, and it still has a lifetime guarantee. But, and I should have said this in the Hammer video, that's one of the things you always want to look for when you're buying tools for yourself. You can buy the little cheapy no-name tools at, like, I was going to say Benny's, but that was a local hardware store that doesn't even exist anymore. You can buy cheapy tools that they don't have a brand name, and they're just, you use them until they break. What I like to do, I'm going to take these off. What I like to do is buy a brand name that I know has a lifetime guarantee. So if I break the tool, I can bring it back to the Home Depot or the Lowe's or the Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight's a very good place to find some of this stuff. Everybody says, oh, it's Hathard Fraud. No, they make a lot of really good tools. and they're good quality tools. There's something I want you to think about, and then I'm going to get into the meat and potatoes of this. All of these tools are being made overseas now. I mean, yeah, Snap-on and stuff like that is American made, but Cobalt, Husky, Harbor Freight, whatever their names are, like Pittsburgh and Quinn and all that, they're all being made overseas. Do you really think that there is a separate Husky factory and a separate Cobalt factory and a separate Harbor Freight names factory? Or do you think there's a couple of big factories that make this stuff, and some of the tools get Cobalt stamped on them, and some of them get Husky stamped on them, some of them are stamped with Pittsburgh and all that? That's kind of what I'm thinking. So they're all coming from the same place, and they all have lifetime guarantees. So they're all decent tools. But like I said, we are going to get into now, after I've rambled for 6 minutes, the meat and potatoes of this video. See this? 99% of the screwdriver tasks you're going to need to do can be accomplished with these 3 screwdrivers. The most important one here, well, see, that's kind of debatable. The most, that's kind of debatable too. I'm just going to start with this one. This all goes together. It is an Irwin, and again, it doesn't have to be Irwin. You can get any brand you want. It's a 9-in-1, which means it has 9 different functions for turning screws. You can see it has a big flathead, a big Phillips, a little Phillips, a little flathead. It has the squares like this, the Robertson bits, a number 1 and a number 2. This will fit on, let's see if I can remember this. I can't think of which one is which offhand, but this will fit a variety. This hole, and even, oh no, not on that one. So these 2 holes and these holes here fit a few different size nuts, so it can actually function as a nut driver too. First screwdriver you should probably buy would be one like this, and they make them with tons. They make them with all different sorts of heads. They make 15-in-1s, they make 19-in-1s, all sorts of different things. The chickens are yelling at each other. All right, so they make all sorts of different things. This one I find is a good, we'll say, tool belt screwdriver. You have this, you can deal with about 90% of what you're going to run into as you're doing home repairs, as you're doing electrical outlets, things like that. Sounds like a fire truck's coming by. I could be wrong. I was wrong. 90% of what you're going to be able to do, or what you're going to need to do, you're going to be able to do with this. You're eventually going to have to upgrade to the dedicated screwdrivers, the dedicated flathead, the dedicated Phillips, the dedicated Robertson and Torx and all that. Because you're going to find you're doing more and more. The more you learn how to do, the more you want to do more, and then you learn more. So I would say buy this screwdriver first. It all clicks together and it's all like one compact thing. I would say buy that first. As you buy that, I would also buy a big heavy-duty flathead like this. I think this is a 5/16. Something big like that. Like, look at how big that is compared to my thumb. Why do you want this? Are you really going to be running into a bunch of big flat screws? Probably not. I mean, older houses, you'll find them in like when you're replacing window sash weights and stuff like that. And certain small engine components have the big flatheads on them. But where this excels is being used in ways that it's not made to be used. This flathead screwdriver is a pry bar. It's a chisel that you can beat on. You can shove it into things and twist the whole thing to get leverage. This is probably one of the most underrated tools that you will ever see. It's a good, solid beater screwdriver. I use this to punch out the backs of electrical boxes. I'll put it up against a little cutout in the back and just tap it and shoot that out like a chisel. Like I said, I used this screwdriver and a really, really big, like 3/8 big Craftsman screwdriver to get tires off of rims. Would I recommend it? No. And now I have pry bars for that. But that's how versatile this is. That's how usable this is. So these are two screwdrivers. When you buy screwdrivers, I'm gonna recommend you buy all three of these together. The big flathead screwdriver, it's a pry bar, it's a chisel, it's a X, Y, and Z. You will find so many uses for a big flathead screwdriver. Now, quite possibly even more versatile than the big flathead screwdriver is this little pocket screwdriver, this little pocket flathead screwdriver. I heard this once, whoever invented the flathead screw was an idiot, but whoever invented the flathead screwdriver was a genius. Now, again, you can use this for little flathead screws, and I do occasionally, but where this excels is in areas that you would not think it excels. Areas where it's being used as a small pry bar, as a small chisel, as a punch. I have used this when the nail guns, when I'm building sheds, jam up. I have used this, I put it in the end against the piston, tapped on it with that hammer you saw, and freed it up. I've used this to dig nails out of behind the piston when they get snagged up in there. I've used this to change the light bulbs in the headlights of both of our vehicles. I've used this as a pry bar. I've used this as a punch, a chisel, everything you can possibly imagine. And get one that has this little pocket clip. Because if it's in your pocket, you'll remember to use it. You'll have it when you need it. And that's the biggest thing with tools. You'll have them when you need them. You need to have them when you need them. I would also recommend taking a little engraver or like a pocket knife or something and putting your initials on all of your tools. Just so that you can keep track of them so that they don't walk away. And so if somebody didn't have this on a job site, because I carry this in my pocket, and I give it to somebody to use, and then it's in their pocket, and they're not going to give it back. Oh, hey, let me see that screwdriver. Oh, yeah, that's mine. You just want to be able to hang on to your stuff. But this little thing here, it's a screwdriver, it's a scraper, it's a chisel, it's a pick. Everything you can possibly imagine, you're going to find uses for this. So as far as screwdrivers go, in the toolkit for the newly self-sufficient, you're going to want to eventually buy a whole bunch of screwdrivers. But when you're young and you're just getting started and you probably don't have a lot of money, start like this. Buy a good multi-tip screwdriver, preferably the ones like this where you turn them around and you do that. The ones that they store in the handle are I never really like those. I kind of find them cheesy. And they just feel like they'll fall apart. So buy a good multi-tip screwdriver. Get a good flat beater screwdriver, big one like this. This one I actually got when I moved into the house that I used to live in the city. It was just sitting there on the floor of the basement. So I picked it up, and it's been my screwdriver ever since. I don't even know the brand. It might be Stanley with the yellow. I'm kind of thinking it is. says made in USA somewhere on it. It's not really a big deal for me. I'm not one of those ones who's, oh yeah, you gotta buy what you can afford. And as long as there's a lifetime guarantee, who cares? So buy a big beater screwdriver, flathead like that, and buy a good pocket screwdriver like this. Because when you have them, you're going to be amazed at how many uses you find for them. So that's the next video in the series of tools for the newly self-sufficient. I'm going to end this video by saying I hope wherever you are comfortable and that God is with you. Thank you.